Welcome back to another episode of Everything Rugby. Last time around we spoke about the coaches, but today we're going to talk about the matches that you and I will never forget. So ideally I should be talking about the 2017 Zahira College against Wesley game and Trinity game, but I'm not going to be biased. I'm going to talk about 2019, the most unforgettable game in that league last year. For me, it was the St. Peter's versus St. Thomas match at the Big Club grounds. What a game it was. Just a 1-point game where the St. Peter's College kicker Shanaka and Inshaf, unfortunately for him, missed the kick, but fortunately for the Thomians, they recorded a wonderful victory in their opening game. That game had everything. It had all the tries scored, penalties, kicks, conversions, mistakes. Because if you look at that second try by St. Thomas College, when Ishaq picked up a loose ball, pounced on it first and then just straight away under the post to score. That was the point where the game changed. And also I think the way the Thomians played that game, they played it smart. Although they were trailing in the first half 14 points to nothing, they came back in the second half to score 20 points, 2 converted tries and 2 penalties. I think they took the penalties that they had early on. I think Coach Shamli Nawaz had that in his mind. He wanted them to take the points first and ease the pressure off them, and he knew that they would score tries and win that game. Pete writes, I think they took it a little too easy after that 2 successful tries in the first half when Sandesh Dimel and Ravin Fernando scored back to back, but then from there on they were just lost. Last minute try by the hooker was not enough because Shanaka and Inshaf missed the kick. And my next most unforgettable game in 2018. I think many of you would remember this game for so many reasons. I'm not going to tell you bit by bit, but especially because what happened at the end. Anyway, it was the game between Royal College and Wesley College, where Wesley hosted it at CRNFC. It was a full house, a packed house that day. Referee Dinka Piris was in charge in that game, if you guys remember. It was a 1-point game as well, 17 points to 18. Royal came out on top, but Wesley College, unfortunately for them, missed out on several occasions. But those tries scored, the first one and the second one, when Murshid Zubair sliced through that Royal College defence line with ease and then just put an inside ball to his support player who scored under the post. But that game as well, Royal formed their rolling maul, but Wesley had planned with Coach Paul Toria at that time. They had planned how to stop that rolling maul so well that the Royalists couldn't even move from that rolling maul. They scored both their tries in open play, not in the maul. They tried to go through the maul, but it never worked. So Wesley did a brilliant job in that game to stop that. And we saw what that one move did. It changed the whole concept of that game. Royal was struggling with their backs, but the forwards came through, and however in the end, with Dulan Pereira slotting a 3-pointer in the 60th minute, Royal managed to win that game. So those are my 2 unforgettable games in 2019 and 2018. Let's see what's the next 4 matches.
Yuzraan's already told us what his most unforgettable games of the recent past were, and my most unforgettable game was way back in 2009, but my 2 unforgettable games, I'm a little bit biased, but still would involve St. Thomas's from their most successful season recently, which was in 2016 under their captain Pandula. So it was a really tense Royal Thomian. We're going into that game underdogs because we had not won a Royal Thomian for so many years. And I wasn't in the commentary box as I was supposed to be. So that's another memorable moment for me as well from that match. But I remember watching it at home, and what happened was Royal were leading 20 points to 14. Royal had used their driving maul and they had scored a try in the last few moments, and it was really looking like it was going to be a difficult one for St. Thomas. So 15 points to 14 actually in the last move of the game. And the last move of the game, I remember it well, was a scrum on pretty much on the 15-meter line, about 40 meters away from the Royal College try line. And I could see that they had set up a move where the number 8 would break and they would then send it out to the line. But what happened was, for St. Thomas's luck, the ball actually shot out of the number 8's feet, and he had to recover, and the only option he had was with Royal's defence rushing up. All he could see when he looked up was Navin Henakankanamge standing on the touchline to his right. All he could do was fling the ball out to him, and Navin pretty much did the rest. It was one of the best runs that I've ever seen from a schoolboy winger ever since the days of guys like Kishan Musafa and Mohammad Rinaz. This was probably one of the best runs I've seen. He skinned the Royal defence, went in, and he didn't need the conversion, but St. Thomas's managed to get that conversion as well and managed to win that game 21 points to 15. Really tense. I remember Navin running back with his finger to his lips to the Royal crowd. It really was an unbelievable game, especially for a side that hasn't won a Royal tournament in so long. My second match, also from the same season, and that was against another high-profile opposition, Trinity College. And this was also a game that was purely going Trinity's way. They were leading it quite comfortably. They scored a couple of breakaway tries, and then suddenly the match turned when their skipper Rahul Karnatilaka got yellow carded. And with the yellow card, I think there was a little bit of fluster among the Trinitians, and suddenly with a drop goal, St. Thomas's came within reach. But again, it was 18 points to 20 for most of that game, towards the latter half of the game. And once again, the ball somehow found its way to Navin Henakankanamge, and just like he did against Royal, he smoked the defence on that touchline, a try that Yuzraan would have been proud of when he was playing for Zahira as well. We saw him do that several times, but this was beating several defenders, and the final cover tackle, he ducked under the final cover tackle and managed to make it to the corner flag. It was just another brilliant run by Navin and took the game away from Trinity College. They just couldn't recover in the last few moments. But games that St. Thomas's looked to be losing and managed to win, those are the ones that are the most unforgettable. So those are my two unforgettable games from 2016.
So Shanaka and Yuzraan spoke about matches that had a significant impact on that year's Schools Rugby League or the Milo President's Trophy. But this time, let's go back and think about a match that had an impact in the entire school rugby history. We're talking about Science College in 2015 playing that Milo President's Trophy, winning against Isipatana. Isipatana, in the case of Omar Gunaratna's Isipatana 15, they had everything in their armory, because they had the likes of Chamod Fernando, Omar Gunaratna, Chatura Dilshan, all those X-Factor players, and yet Science College emerged victorious because they were playing as a team. They made that difference that time. Let's go back and see that game. When that game came in, everyone expected Isipatana College to go and have a free run against Science, because they lost that league that time. They lost it to Royal College at the Royal Complex that year. So everyone expected Isipatana College to win this Milo President's Trophy, but what happened was entirely different. From that kickoff whistle, I think Science College were out here to win that trophy. And first off, I think Chamod Fernando scored that early break in that try, but then that was equalized by Tanuja Malimbada. But then what really changed the game was when Science was trailing. They were trailing 7 points to 15, and then sooner or later they came up the rank, and then they were at a competitive stage. But then Isipatana took that game away from them, taking their points tally to 18 points. But that try, I think everyone will remember that try. That try changed how Science College and their rugby, I think collecting that ball at that line-out position, the Science winger dashed his way, sidestepped all through Astagayashan, all those X-Factor players, and scored that try. And once that try was scored, I think the entire Science fraternity went ballistic. I've seen Royal Complex filled for a Bradby, but I've never seen a match like that where the Royal Complex was filled with Science supporters onto the right side and Isipatana supporters onto the left side. And that game literally changed how we saw Science College, and I think it set the footprint and also the foundation for Science Rugby in the years to come. Schools Rugby and the Bradby Shield are some things that go hand in hand, and then in 2017 something special happened when the Bradby Shield first leg was also the league decider, when Royal College and Trinity College were the top two sides in that league that year. And what an amazing game we had at Pallekele. Everyone thought Trinity College were going to go all out in that game, because the way they played, they had the likes of Rote Raikabula, the New Zealand All Black Sevens coach with them, and they saw that they won every other match they had except for that Peters game that year. And I think it was a revolutionary year for the Trinitians. But then in the meantime, I think what Trinity didn't plan for was Sanat Martis and the Royal College team. Right from that kickoff whistle, they were focused, they knew what they had to do. They mauled their way through. At one point, Trinity were leading 12 points to 10, but that lead was just stopped out by the Royal forwards. They mauled their way through, and likes of Shakir Naufar also played a very crucial part in kicking those kicks amidst the huge fanfare. Trinity fans supporting their school to win a league after 25 years, but looks like Trinity College had to wait for a few more years. Owen Askey's leadership was tremendous. At one point, I think when the clock turned red, the 80 plus minutes, I think Trinity College were trying their level best to go and trying to see how to change things around. But I think Royal College had that game. It was one of the most memorable Bradby Shields we've ever seen. And Royal College, rightfully, I think that set the foundation for that 3 years of supremacy. Owen Askey lifting the Singer Schools Rugby League and later lifting the Bradby Shield.
Alright, so that's how Shanaka, Inshaf and myself, we spoke about our unforgettable games. I'm pretty sure there are more games, more moments that are unforgettable to you. So make sure you comment your story. We'll make sure to read it out loud on our next segment. So until we meet again, stay safe and stay logged to ThePapare.com. So if you want to watch statistical, critical and analytical videos like this, follow Everything Rugby and subscribe to ThePapare.com.